your certification is nonsense. 100%. This is where I got to and I understood that your certification does not really matter. It gives you an edge, maybe later on, but I understand the principle that you have to actually start from ground zero. This place is not where you come and they'll say, "Oh, I have one brother who will help me talk to somebody and they'll give you a job." Now, it's not. They can't even. Like when you get your job and people start asking you, "Oh, where did you get your job? How far now?" You should show us the way. The only way is for you to go and apply. Do you get? I can't even tell you. It doesn't even work that way. Your recommendations does happen, but
Hello guys, welcome back. Today we have an inspiring guest who is like many of us who has navigated the path from Nigeria to UK tech success. Our guest today is Omobolaji Etti, popularly known as BJ. I call him BJ. So BJ started with a physics degree, built his data career in Nigeria, and now works as a business data analyst at the Rod Group in Newcastle, UK. His story shows what's possible with persistence and the right strategy. Once again, welcome back to the show, The Tech Journey with the Data Dude. I am your host, the Data Dude. I want to use this opportunity to say thank you to everyone who have been watching the first 3 episodes. Now, we started seeing the result of the goal of the show. It has inspired them, motivated them to do the next thing in their career. So keep watching, keep subscribing, and please repost, share to a friend who needs to hear this authentic story so that they can take up the next step and for them to achieve their tech dreams. So welcome Mr. DJ. Thank you very much for honoring our invite. And let's start with the journey and transition. I want us to take us back to the beginning. How did you transition from physics to data analytics? What sparked this interest?
Yeah, thanks, Data Dude. It's nice joining you here on the show. And first of all, I must applaud what you're doing, trying to encourage people in the community, encourage people in our space, even people outside our community that been looking at that daunting task of transitioning from whatever field they are in into the data world, into the tech space, not knowing how to navigate the weather. I think this program obviously would teach them that it's doable. So
Thank you very
jumping right into it, like you mentioned, my name is Omobolaji Etti, BJ for short, as a lot of people would call me. A business data analyst with the Rod Group, like you've also mentioned. So basically, my journey, my first degree is in pure and applied physics, and so I would say I've been a scientist, or it is a field ordinarily that requires some analytical thinking and all of that for you to be able to navigate it. But like you and I have known people in this space, it does not really matter your background. Your first degree absolutely does not matter. I've met people that studied CRS, Christian Religious Studies, IRS, Business Administration, just name it. I'm sure you study geology or geography. I've seen a whole lot of people from different sphere and different field of that. So yes, first degree is important, but like you and I know, especially in the UK or even in the West, your degree doesn't really count. It's more of what you can do, what you've learned. So my first degree is in physics, and as you all know, back in Nigeria, most times if you studied physics, whether or not it's physics education, you're likely to end up being a teacher because that's what everybody would ordinarily just assume.
That's true.
In as much as there are other fields, like the field I was working in, I drifted a bit into remote sensing. So I worked back home as a space science and technology officer, where I think that's what sparked my interest for data. But this time it was geographical data, studying the earth, looking at topology, topographic maps, how does it help people to look at terrain, look at weather and stuff like that. It's just data in actually helping security agencies back home, especially those in the Northeast, to see how they can navigate the weather when they are going for operations. So that was the driving force. That was where data, I would say, the first place where I actually saw data until, all right. So transitioning into business data or into data analytics, I think the first time I thought of it was during COVID. It was early 2020 or thereabouts, where I just felt like, yes, I enjoyed doing what I was doing. Then as a space science officer, but I just knew that I wanted more. And that was when the idea of even relocation started coming to mind. And for me, I felt like, okay, this is what you do. Okay, when you study physics, like I said, you might likely be a teacher.
Yeah.
You're working in this space sector. It's not a very common sector anywhere in the world. So it's not where you would say you want to cast your net on and say, okay, I have to also work in this field whenever I leave Nigeria. It's quite difficult. You most likely will be a citizen, or you'd have lived in the country for over 5 years, security clearance and all of that. So I knew that was it's not something I could bank on. So I just thought to myself, if I was to go to the UK, what skills were in demand then? What do I need to learn? What do I need to get my hands on? And that's practicable and also something that I would enjoy doing. And so I started just scrolling and researching online, and data analytics just kept popping up. Not data analytics per se. I was seeing training, Power BI training.
Okay.
Power BI training, and I just looked at it and sort of just resonated with me, like, oh, I like this. This is nice. You get, and okay, I saw a YouTube video. Oh wow, this is nice. I think I've forgotten the name of is it the S3 or the Envy? It's the apps that we use in the geospatial in remote sensing
That's
to
right.
be able to analyze. Yeah.
On Envy or something.
Yeah. MVS. We have
You
quite a
know,
number of them.
I studied remote sensing and just to
Yeah.
correlate
I
with
know.
everything.
I know. Yeah.
So
So
let us
so
imagine Envy. I think it's Envy.
yeah,
Maybe they call it
Envy.
Envy. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just saw Power BI and I just did a 2 weeks boot camp because I didn't want to
Wow.
go for a full course. I just wanted to do a 2 weeks boot camp. And when I saw Power BI and I went to YouTube, and that's something that people should also notice. Know your strengths. You don't need to lie to
Okay.
yourself. You might be the data dude that is comfortable actually learning stuff on his own, going to YouTube, and you're able to learn stuff on your own.
Mm.
And you might also be a BJ that prefers to pay to learn from someone physically, like to
Okay.
have that physical rapport where it's open ended, where it's not like if you're watching on YouTube is somebody has recorded a video and that's all you're learning. It's not
Yes.
open ended to the sense where you can ask what you want, live interaction, use different use cases just as it comes to your mind. So I've always been that person who YouTube can be secondary, but primarily I like to have that life feel or that life flow. So that's
Mm.
one of the reasons why I said, okay, I was going to look for where I could learn this. And I paid for a 2 weeks boot camp. And even after the first 2 days, I was like, yes, this is what I want to do. This is
Mm.
what I actually want to learn. So after the Power BI, I can remember after a week, the second week, the organization that actually taught me, we are having like a free section, and because they called me, or maybe probably it's the enthusiasm I showed in class, or when they give us a task. I
Yeah.
had the best dashboard design and all that. And they reached out to me to say, we're having a test session for some people. We would like you to take the Power BI session just to introduce them to Power BI. And this was just a week after I started learning. And I was very happy, took the challenge. And probably I did some things right or say some things right then. And they had a whole lot of people subscribe. Even from them during the class, they were saying, oh, do you know people kept asking of you because they thought that you were the one that was going to be taking the course and all that. So I
Wow.
mean, so I was very happy to hear that, and so from there, I knew Power BI alone was not going to be enough, or just the 2 weeks bootcamp was not be enough. So I went for a 6 months data science course, diploma course. Yeah,
Wow.
so be Python, the SQL, Power BI, Tableau, Excel, basically the things you need to arm yourself with, and you would say, okay, I am a data analyst, because that's another question people ask me most of the times. What skill and what skill do I need to have learned to now say, okay, yes, I am a data analyst? So I learned all those skills that you would say, oh, okay, yes, and trying to relate it back to your experiences and say, oh, okay, if I had this knowledge then, probably I would have been able to help that business or this business that you've done and all that. So, yeah, so that was my journey transitioning
Wow.
into data analytics. Before I left Nigeria, I already started working like as a consultant, freelance for some of my friends that have businesses just to test my skill. Even during the course, I was just telling them, all right, can I see your sales data? So now I'm able to tell them, oh, people buy this more in February, probably because of this. Now being able to use even real life thinking outside the box to tell them these are your best sellers, these products you should not restock them. Look at this demographic for your customers, because probably people here of a certain age So that's why they'll tend to, for instance, I had the guy that was looking for a bed shop, where to
Okay.
situate a bed shop. So I could tell him, all right, these are the kind of population you are looking for. You don't want to go to the area where you have like very wealthy people. So
See?
you want to look for places where you have like hustlers, you have young population that are actually going out every day looking for money. Don't look for glamour where you are looking for like wanting to sight you. And all of this is just from the things I've been able to pick up during the classes and just my own personal effort to go into classes. So I was consulting freelance for my friends, even if someone that has a barbering salon, just to say, oh, okay, how frequent, when do you have traffic in your shop and all that. So yeah, so basically that was the transition. So already in Nigeria, I was applying for jobs in the UK to say, all right, when I decided I was going to come to the UK, let's start applying for jobs. But basically, that's the transition into
Wow.
data analytics. Yeah,
So thank you very much for that. So from your story now, you started with 2 weeks Power BI training.
yeah.
And you finished that training and you were like, okay, this is not enough. There is more to learn. And
Yeah,
you
of
went
course.
and you went for the diploma program, which is data science and AI.
Yeah.
So can you tell us like what year like did you start with this learning, the Power BI, the data science stuff?
I think it was late 2021, early 2021 first. Early 2021 was Power BI Bootcamp, maybe around February. So after that, I think all through 2021, because 2020 was when I conceived the idea during COVID, like I said. So 2021 was like, okay, you have to action it, whatever the idea is, and how do you want to go about it and all of that. So
Wow.
2021 was like the year where I said, oh, all right, so before September or October, because I knew already in my mind I was going to leave Nigeria in 2022. So I had already planned it and say, all right, so 2021 I had to get that knowledge, and after I was done, I didn't want to just wait till 2022 before I start using that knowledge. So start applying it in day to day, like consulting for my friends. I also had a business I was running. I was just applying it to just see, oh, all right. So I was just looking for any business that they have data, they kept any kind of data of what they were doing and all
So
that. So yeah,
you were
2021, I would say, yeah, probably.
well, you were just getting your ass dirty.
Yeah,
Those
yeah,
years,
yeah.
okay, you just learn this thing and it's very hot. Let me start applying it.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
did you use is it because of the money in tech that made you to, like you want to go deeper or
No,
because
no.
okay, you just like you just align with your strength and interest?
Yeah, I think it should be like be aligned with my strength and interest. And it's fascinating when you've been used to like seeing data just sit on Excel. Yeah, you've seen some dashboard on Excel and all that, but the fact that Power BI made me see, oh, you could have from different variety of sources,
So it's
like
okay.
different other sources. So even that Excel is just a source. So you could have it sitting in people's PDF, people's databases, different online script websites. So just to show that, oh, you could like bring all of this together and just put it into one and setting up a dashboard, and people could make business informed decision at the tip of their finger. So it's sort of aligned with my strengths, and it was not really the money as such. Of course, everybody wants remuneration for whatever you do, but
Yeah,
well,
sure,
the
sure.
first thing that sparked what it was the fact that it aligned with my strength then.
So you stated what motivates you, what motivated your decision into relocating to UK, and everybody have different and unique story and
Yeah.
experiences. So what were those first few months like when you just arrived in the UK?
Yeah, that one is that's like the part 2 of the story. So yeah, basically, like, especially it's important for we to always like talk about this your when you got to the UK, because a whole lot of us had that mindset coming here, especially for someone like me that would say, oh, I've been applying for jobs even in Nigeria already, and I kept on getting messages like probably it's because I was not in the UK as at then. So I just thought, oh, when you get into the UK,
It will be easier.
yeah, it will be easier and all that. I even I said that at the back of my mind, like, okay, it's not. I'm not sure it's going to be like there, just right there. They just tell you, give you the job and all that. But so getting here and started applying, kept on the amount of unfortunately would always everybody have their stories of the amount you would have, and you even get to a point where you start doubting yourself and saying like. I've spoken to people. I've talked to people that actually even were depressed.
Wow.
Yeah, because at some point you get to a point where you are just tired and
Mm.
of the unfortunately. And for me then, the unfortunately kept coming. I even got to a point where I had to pay someone to look at my CV.
Mm.
But in that storm of the unfortunately, it just kept coming. I kept on applying. You set target to say, okay, every day I want to apply for 20 jobs. Every day I want
Wow.
to just, at every point in the morning, if I wake up, just quick,
What you
do
did?
five. Yeah. At some point.
You were applying for like 20 jobs per day.
Yeah. Consciously,
Wow.
20 jobs. Like, it was a conscious effort to say,
Wow.
all right, I have to just spread my, when you go to the river to catch fish, you have
Wow.
to spread it as far as you can. So it was conscious effort to say I was going to be doing 20 per day. At some
Wow.
point, I even said, those easy apply. I
Yeah,
said,
yeah, that
okay, I was
just
going to be
click.
doing 10 of them. Then
Wow.
the proper ones, I'll try and do 10 where you have to go to the website and all that. So,
Some people will be like, this thing, is kind of easier because if I'm not hearing from your mouth now,
mm,
I may think that, okay, let's just assume, I may think that, okay, you got the offer easily. But now that you are splitting it out, that, okay, per day, you were applying for like 20 jobs per day.
yeah, of course.
And that means that was something because some people will apply for like maybe like 10 jobs and they receive 10 unfortunate emails. They're like, okay, they don't know what, like, they don't want to go on anymore. And
Mm,
you're like, per day, you're even applying for 20 jobs.
yeah.
This is speaking or telling some people that what they have done is just the beginning. Or let me say, okay, just
There are people that
preparation.
I've met people that actually had unbelievable stories as to how many jobs they applied to per day. I had one guy that was documenting how many jobs he applied per day. He was applying 40, 50 jobs per day.
What?
Yeah, he doesn't
40?
sleep. So when he gets back from his menial work, he doesn't sleep. He applies for job from 12 o'clock to 4 a.m. Just
Wow.
applying for job every day. Then he
Wow.
sleeps for like 3 hours, wake up and goes to so every day he was documenting it. He had a folder, he had a file. In fact, in this folder when he was showing me, he had the unfortunate list. He was even counting his unfortunate list. Like he
Wow.
got to before he ever got an interview, he got 1,102 unfortunately. And he was documenting it.
1,002.
Yes. 102. He was documenting it. It's not so he actually showed me, opened his laptop, went to his applied job folders,
So,
the ones he got
if
interviewed, the one he kept documenting. So I've heard even more crazier stories.
wow. Can we just call it like it's now a game of number now? That okay, the
Yeah,
more
yeah,
you
yeah.
apply, like
Yeah,
the
of course. You have
increase
to, because
your
the thing is, like I said, at some point I was doubting my CV. I had to
hmm.
pay someone to actually look at my CV. And as at then, I now got the first time I actually got was like after 40 days ish of applying, of getting into the UK and applying that number. And I got an email to say, we've seen your CV and thank you for applying for the job. We've gone through your CV. We are impressed with your CV and we would like to take it further. And this was like, I felt like I'd won a jackpot because this was like,
Wow.
when you apply for jobs so much that you don't even know what you don't even check, you don't even care to check the name of the organization. You're just
Because
applying.
you were expecting like unfortunate
Yeah.
email,
Yeah.
like
So when I
as
saw that,
usual.
I didn't even, I just started jumping up. Then when I checked the
Wow.
organization, it was Deloitte. And
Wow.
Deloitte is not a small organization, you
Company,
know what I
yeah.
mean? So
Yeah.
when I saw it was Deloitte, I was like, okay, then nothing is wrong with my CV. If
Okay.
somebody that works for Deloitte to see it and say they are impressed and they would like to speak
They
to me further,
continue.
then
Wow.
the CV is not the problem. These people are just messing about. If you ask someone, you will never. If somebody tells you, okay, look at the CV I used in getting job, and probably you have been searching and searching, and you look at your own CV, you look at the person's CV, be like, so you can never say this is the reason or this is what this person did right, and this is why the person
Hmm.
got the job and I didn't.
Hmm.
So that's why you have to
Hmm.
apply for as much as you don't know what
Oh.
resonates on in the recruiter. You don't know because some of these things are automated also. You don't know if it's keyword, if it's there's a lot of variations
Wow.
to these things,
Wow.
but
Wow.
the best thing you do is just put your foot out there and just keep applying. For me, I kept on applying. And when the break came, the job I'm doing till now, when the interview came, in fact, before the job came, I
Yeah.
got two offers the same week.
Wow.
I got an offer from a recruiter in London that reached out to me from LinkedIn and I did an interview and I had already gotten their offer before I even got the interview for the job I do now. But
Wow.
because I was based in Newcastle, so I just had to let the London offer go. But I mean, that was like it was not rosy. I can't even lie. Cannot
Wow.
even lie because
Wow.
I can
Wow.
remember now. I've told you I've learned Power BI and Tableau. When I saw this job, they said they wanted Click. I've never heard of Click before.
I think this is
Click
the first
is
time I'm hearing that too.
yeah, so Click is actually huge. Click is actually big, and I've never heard of it before. And I was like, Click, and I told them
Click.
yes, yeah,
Wow.
and I told them yes, that I could use Click. So leading up to the interview,
Wow.
the night before the interview, I went to my normal hustle job and came back. and I had to do a crash course on YouTube for using
for
Click.
click.
Yes, for
Wow.
5 hours. A five
Wow.
hours crash course.
Wow.
My eyes were swollen to that interview because I
Wow.
didn't sleep. I didn't get any sleep. So
Wow.
for Click, so because you're tired and it's just like people. If you hear people's story, I've seen somebody that only did data analysis. The only skill he learned was SQL and Power BI and Excel. Those are the three skills that he learned. But he saw a data engineering role and he applied for it and he went for the interview.
And you got it.
No, he can't. Definitely won't get it because he doesn't even know what data engineering is. But I'm just telling you, people get so desperate that you'd apply for anything. Yeah. So for me, I saw that role, I read the JD, and I was like, okay, I can do this, and I applied for it. I saw Click, I saw it pop and play, and I ignored it and I applied. When they reached out to me, they still needed to confirm
If you can use that too.
use Click, and I said yes, I can use it. But when I
Wow.
got there, when I got to the interview, after I knew that I'd impressed, so I had to tell them, yes, we have worked before. I've used Power BI, I've used Tableau. They are all just visualization software. They are basically the same. So
Yeah.
I don't really I'm not faced by it because it's just another visualization software. So that was how I was able to water that down. Yeah.
Wow, wow. Let me quickly address our audience that is watching this right now. As I've heard, this is not even maybe pertaining to tech alone. This is pertaining to all professions out there. You are applying now and you are not in the state of you are like, okay, maybe I'm not good enough, or my CV is not good enough, or what is wrong with you, or is it because of your color, or is it no matter the excuse that you are giving yourself, please don't stop applying. This is now a game of number. The more you apply, the more your chances of getting what you want. Based on what BJ, is saying now, he even shared another story of someone that did 102 applications, and the person was running like 50 applications per day. This is a testament that okay, the more you apply, even if you have applied for 20 and you got 20 interviews already and everything came out as a rejection, please don't give up. Keep applying.
Yeah.
That is what will make your own story unique. Because BJ's story is very unique to me now. I've never heard it before. Just now that okay, he's sharing with all of us. Also, you're also hearing BJ's story. So everything that you are going through now, these are the things that will make your own story authentic and inspiring for others to take up their own bold step and achieve what they are dreaming of. Thank you very much, BJ. Let's move back to you have shared some little early challenges. Yeah. But I want us to go back to when you started, the data science and data science bootcamp. Is it that it was easy to learn, the Python aspects? I don't know, maybe you dive into machine learning or deep learning aspect, but just to cover the data science, is it something that okay, you were easy to catch up with it, or you went extra mile just you didn't focus on just the bootcamp alone? You still have to do your own self learning.
Yeah, 100%. I still have to do self-learning because Python, like you said, is not data science. You can't escape R and Python.
Yeah, sure.
You have to arm yourself with either of them. You can choose one to specialize in, and if you're good, you're good in. And for me, I am more leaning towards Python than using R. So extra effort was made in terms of being able to arm myself with that. And trust me, there's no knowledge that is a waste. You could actually, when I got my job, now you've armed yourself with SQL, Python, Excel, Google Sheets, Power BI. You could get a job today that you only focus on only using 2 or 3 of that.
Yes, definitely.
Of that skill, and you will never have to use Python.
Yes.
Never have the need to. That's just the truth. But you don't want to limit yourself by only knowing 2 or 3. You want to know as much as you could. Because trust me, in as much as we have been working now for well over 2 years now, I've never really, really had the need for Python. Up until like September or November last year, where there was a project, there was a task, and I just felt, Python should be able to do this. Python should be able to do this. I needed to connect to land data from API from one of our vendors. They're going to give us API credentials, and I feel like Python should be able to do it. So that was the only time ever I've actually had to use Python. Even SQL, not Click, DAX in Power BI.
Yeah.
So Click's language is SQL related. Practically, if you know SQL, Click's language is SQL. 100%. So that's the only reason why I've been using it, SQL. But I had to learn Click's language. It's a bit different, but they are very, very similar. You get what I mean? So no knowledge is a waste because it might come in handy. You never know when it comes in handy. But learning the things that I learned, I think the most challenging one would be R and Python. Yeah, but it's just for me. I just feel like just knowing the basics. As time goes on, if you start doing projects by yourself, and with the advent of everybody just hearing AI everywhere, now you have ChatGPT and the likes, and you have YouTube. There's basically nothing you can't learn. There's basically nothing you can't actually, like, if you go back to and you prompt them in the right way, there's basically nothing you can't
Yes.
actually learn. So, but then it was a bit challenging. R, I won't like. I don't even like hearing R up to now. So Python,
I
I would
mean,
say okay. I love Python a bit. Like then it was, but so just to answer your question there, I found it challenging. It was basically Python and R. And if you are going to do deep learning and machine learning, you can't escape those two. You
yeah, yeah.
can't escape those two.
Yeah. In my own case, in 29, I started with R. Yeah.
Hmm.
R was quite, we use R in more in just
Remote
spatial
sense.
analysis
Yeah,
too.
yeah,
You
yeah.
understand? So it was quite easy for me to use R for something. Then after that, I started using Python. But before then, I had this, this missed that okay. I used to see coders, anytime I see their screen, I see all this nonsense, like, be like, can I
Hmm.
even know this thing? Like, is it that they
Yeah,
just sit down and they were typing all this thing from their air? Like, these people are genius. But
yeah,
how I wish someone had told me that, okay, there are ways to this thing and there are tools or sites that you can get all this code. That you just need
yeah,
to know the fundamental, know what all
yeah,
the, like,
exactly.
where you can use the syntax and everything. Then you can actually get the code online or just do some tweaking or and all. But it got to a point. Then I did a bootcamp too. I think we
Hmm.
even attended the same. We used the same organization, Coven Labs.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I also attended one of their boot camps, also data science and AI in 2019. So that was where I started learning Python, and it was fascinating. I love programming
Hmm.
because when you are doing something that you have interest and it's aligned with your passion and it's aligned
Yeah,
with your strength. So even if the way you will stand out among others will be so different and obvious,
yeah,
you understand the way, like, because you have this burning desire to learn it,
yeah,
and
100%.
everything will just go smooth. So thank you for sharing that aspect. Okay, like the transitioning wasn't easy as it should be. You understand? But right now, many of our listeners are facing similar transition, not only in learning new tools, but in the UK. You understand? Like, okay, they move from they move from their home country to the UK. You understand? And they want to know, because some are, should I say, some are maybe shy. I don't want to use the term shy, or some are being maybe shame of what they are doing, maybe the menial job they are doing. For example, now let's say a manager in Nigeria or a doctor in Nigeria, because we used to hear the news out there on social media that, okay, someone was maybe a doctor in Nigeria. He came to the UK and became maybe a cleaner or something like that.
Hmm.
This is not maybe this is not people's joy, or this is not what people or no Nigerians should be abusing people in the UK for. The kind of job that we do in the UK is not because this is what we want to live our life on, just because of the environment. And when you are new in an environment, you need to do what you can do to survive first.
Yeah, yeah.
You understand? So could you share some of the manual jobs that you did, when you arrived in the UK?
Yeah, so for me, I would always say to people, it's a thing of mindsets. It's a
Hmm.
thing of you understanding that whatever it is you are doing now is temporary. You have your
Yeah.
eyes on the goal.
Okay.
You know it's temporary. I looked for care job.
Hmm.
I looked for care job, like, and my wife
Wow.
was saying, "Are you sure you want to do this? Are you sure you can't do this?" Because my
Wow.
wife was studying then, and I'm like, I didn't come here, leave all what I left
Hmm.
for to now say I want to come and choose. I understand the principle that you have to actually start from ground zero.
Hmm.
You
Yeah.
know, this place is not where you come and they'll say, "Oh, I have one brother who will help me talk to somebody and they'll give you a job." Now, it's not, it can't even work. You know, like when you get your job and people start asking you, "Oh, where did you get your job? How far now?" Show us the way. The only way is for you to go and apply. And do you get? I can't even tell you. It doesn't even work that way. Yeah, recommendations does happen, but it doesn't really work that way. So for me, when I came in, I tried care. I didn't get care. Then I got. So if you go to the Tesco's and the Aldi's, you see people that arrange
Yeah.
stuffs back on the shelf.
Yeah.
So I was working for an agency that required you travel from places to places, they'll
Okay.
lodge you in an hotel, you do your 12-hour shifts, go to the rain, the Tesco's, and you're just like an ad hoc staff. All you need to do is just keep putting stuff on the shelf,
Wow.
labeling them, help customer, So that's what I was actually doing. I was traveling, you go, being away from family. Sometimes it could be very difficult. And 12 hours, you don't sit down, cannot even with your phone. So 12 hours, maybe you have a 30 minutes break, just a 30 minutes break in that 12 hours to
Wow.
eat or do anything you want to do. So that's what I was doing. And I was so happy doing it. So that's one of the things that, yeah, I was so happy doing it that one of the agency, one of the places, the range is called the range. One of those places where I was doing that one.
Yeah.
They liked me so much that
Wow.
the manager called me and offered me a job to be a permanent staff,
Wow.
taking it away from the agency that like everybody have been saying, because I'm always wearing that smile. I'm always happy to help a customer. They started feeling like I was a part of them, not just this guy is coming from an agency. So I was really enjoying what I was doing. I was happy to do it. I didn't care. I'll help customers, like elderly people, carry their stuff on my head. I was just happy, just going about, just being normal, just being that jolly guy. And thankfully, in as much as I can't even look down on any other person doing healthcare or doing the factory works they are just low hanging fruit jobs. The idea is you know yourself, you know where you're coming from, you know where you've left at home and all that.
Yes,
You
yes,
know
yes.
you will not do this forever. Trust me. And most times, again, another advice would be people follow the crowd. You've asked me what's the motivating factor. Why do you think this is the niche? I didn't tell you it's because I heard people just saying, data,
Yes,
data,
yes.
data. It was what I felt suited my personality or my strength and all of that. So you have some people presently that, and I understand the frustration, the noise, but you have to filter the noise. So you
Yes.
have people that have done data analysis courses, done project management courses, done cybersecurity course. One person, not just trying to land a job. But why not focus on one? And it will be depressing because it's taking away your finances. You're not
Yes.
still getting what you want. You're still stuck in that job that you don't really like. But if you're able to filter the noise and you say you have looked, this is what you want to do. Trust me. So there are times where I've mentored people where I used to have that thing at the back of my mind that the first interview I will get, face-to-face interview, I know my strength. I know you cannot listen to me face-to-face.
No,
It will
I
be hard
won't.
and you won't
Wow.
give me the job. So
Wow.
I was always confident now that the first interview that we get that will be a face-to-face interview and you want to
Yes.
listen to me talk, I will
Yes.
never mess it up.
Wow.
Understanding that I've gotten so many rejections. So it was a matter of if I get an interview. Because this is like for everybody, I'm not sure anybody applied one day and just get an interview. For
No,
most
no,
of
no.
us, you'd have applied up. So when you've applied that much and you get an interview, you have to take it serious to say, this is a do or die affair. This is like I have to impress as much as I could. So the first two interviews the one that I said I got, that was Deloitte and we spoke on the phone. The only reason why I didn't get Deloitte or proceed was they told me point blank they needed somebody with a finance background. Deloitte is a consultancy firm, is one of the big fours, and most of the time is finance related. So they do consultancy for financial organization and all that. So they told me, point blank, that we're sorry, we can't move ahead. Even in the interview, we saw that your first degree is in physics. We need somebody that have had experience or has some kind of financial. But the first two interviews I did was the one with the recruiter from London, where I had an online interview, and the physical interview from my present job. I got the two offers for it. So another thing is to like know your strength. Yeah. But like you said, low hanging jobs you will do, but you cannot take it as this is what I want to continue doing. Because for so many of us, so many people I've spoken to, so many of our brothers and our sisters of knowing where we are coming from. So most of them just get stuck in what they are doing and they don't want to further.
Yes.
And trust me, it is not bad. That's another way to look at it.
Yes.
If you've looked at yourself and you feel like, I'm not sure I can do this. So instead of wasting your time and keep whining and complaining, do you know that in that same, let me even use health and care for instance, in that same role, there are qualifications that will make you take you higher, step up.
Yeah.
Yeah, the MV2, MV4, they have their qualification. So when you're whining, but you're still stuck in that job for a year or two, then I would think that you should have tried to step up so that now you don't do the not so good things that they do. Now you're like a manager or a supervisor or a team lead, and it reduces that. So the earlier you realize what you want to do, the better. I know young people. There's my friend, one young guy is in Scotland, and he had known what he wanted to do since when he came into this country. He said it was care he wanted to do, that he liked it. So that's one of the first things that yeah, he's a young guy, and I was like trying to encourage him. Oh boy, you're young now. You not come from Nigeria, and that's what you want to do. Trying to encourage him to find one of those tech skills and all that.
Yeah.
Say, Baba, this is what I want to do. And now I'm
This is one
serious.
line. Wow.
2022. He said,
Wow.
this is what I want to do. Now, presently, he has had like 2, 3 qualifications. Now he's a manager of a care home
Wow.
in the space of
Wow.
2 years.
Wow.
You get what I mean? So he said, he came in, he said, bro, this is what I want to do. This is what I like. It's not for anything, but I just like it. So he already knows he has passion for that. Yeah, from back home. People actually do it. So yeah, their own people, there are people that they are their own people and they do the job just out of passion or out of likeness. But so if it's either it's for you or it's not for you. If it's not for you, then you have to just keep on trying and hopefully you get something soon that would be able to take you out of it. But that try is a must. You have to keep trying.
Thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate that. And the audience are saying big thank you for sharing the actionable insights. So let's talk about skill building. You have built quite diverse skill sets, as you have said, from Power BI to Click to Tableau, Python, AWS. How did you approach learning these tools while handling other responsibilities like
Yeah, so
family?
so basically, I think when I started learning, my family understood. I still had a young family then. I got married in 2019, so my family understood that I told them like I needed to learn this. Like they understood that I needed to actually learn this,
Okay.
and they gave me that time for me to be able to learn it. In terms of saying, oh, all right, I had to dedicate every time I come back from work, do my normal work. The classes were always in the evening, 2 hours every day. So when it's that time, I just zone out, go to a very comfortable space and learn. But for me, it was still back in Nigeria, so it's different. So there are people that are just doing that learning here. So they have to balance still, because you have to pay bills. You have to balance all of that with trying to learn. But trust me, if it inquires, I've paid for training here that I could not give the time for the training, but I'll get recording. So I could not give the time for the training. I was never in a live training. But 1 a.m. when everybody has slept, I can just do my quick 1 hour, look at the recordings, look at what they've done, and just do what I need to do. You get what I mean? So it depends on what's it called, what you're trying to do. So I just have to give it the space or the time. I have to look for the time. So it depends on what skill you're actually looking to get, and if you know yourself, you know the situation around you. Then so that's what I did. But I've also done training here where I could not physically give it time. I was missing because of family, trying to balance work life and all that. So what I did was just, all right, no problem. 12 a.m. I'll just give 1 hour to say I want to learn this. So I know it might be hard for some people, especially when you do 12 to 12 hours every day. You come back, you're tired. I've been there. You can basically you can't do anything else. But I mean, you just have to, if you don't work every day, 5 days in a week, 12 hours, maybe you have 1 day off or 2 day off, you have to dedicate that 1 day off to actually learning. So most times, for people that I know that are doing healthcare and want to go into the tech data space and all that, that's what they mostly do. That's what they mostly do.
Thank you for that. So there is this debate in the data space, and I want to hear your view on it. Is it a must to be certified, maybe as a data analyst or maybe data scientist? Based on Microsoft, we have Microsoft, associate certifications
Yeah,
and stuff like
Google.
that, Google certification. So do you think that is the most required stuff to get job, or the most required thing to get job is to get hands-on experience or projects?
100% it is. Yeah, that's where I got. This is where I got to, and I understood that your certification is. I don't call it nonsense, but your certification does not really matter. It gives you an edge, maybe later on, but in landing that job, it gives you an edge, of course, because if I want to employ you and I put data analytics roles out there, and I see somebody that said they have certified Microsoft business or data analyst, Google, of course, I would tend to be drawn to that person. But if I see someone also that has had experience, here is experience over certification. So if I see someone that had experience, I want to hear the both of them out. Do you know that where I work up until now, nobody has asked me for even the first degree that I said I have. back home now, if you get
Oh,
a job, they'll
wow.
tell you bring your marriage
Certificate,
certificate,
yeah, all these things.
who
Wow.
is the king in your village, who is all of that. Go and bring the first school, your primary school living certificates and whatnot. So
Wow.
yeah, it's just more of you said in your CV that you can do this. Do it for us, let us see.
Hmm.
So experience over certification, 100%. So if you are spending your time just trying to get certification, but not doing projects, not actually getting that know-how or building that experience, building that portfolio to say you can tell them you've done this or do that, then you will not even be heard. Not to talk. They don't really certification does not really matter. Where certification comes in is when you've now landed a job and you want to now upskill. You are eyeing higher roles. You want to be a senior data analyst. You want to be a data analyst team lead. That
Yeah.
is where you want to now start looking for different certifications. But basically, as a data analyst, just is the know-how really. Nobody really
Hmm.
asks how you know it or the proof for them that you know it is not your certification. The
Yes.
proof for
Yes.
them that you know it is, can you do it? Back
Hmm.
home is the other way around. It's your certification. Nobody really cares if you can do it. But oh, this person has MSc, PhD, or yeah, then this person has that knowledge. But yeah, it's more of what you can do than what your certificate shows.
So as you are listening now, if you are, it's not saying that maybe you shouldn't maybe pursue certification, but please consider getting experience, build projects. You understand? These are the things that will help you in landing that job. But if you keep pounding up certifications,
Mm,
trust me, though it may benefit you later, but from experience and from what we have heard from people that have gotten these roles, they prefer experience over your certificate. Please
100%.
let's consider that. Thank you very much, BG. So
Yeah.
I'm very sure you got two offers within same period.
Mm.
That must be something that made you stand out.
I wouldn't know what made me stand out, but sure, yeah, because I'm not on the other side of the table. But one of the things I would say is my preparation, or I'll say my desperation. Also, I've
Hmm.
always, like I told you, I was always saying, man, if I get an interview, I'll not mess it up. If I get an
Hmm.
interview, I'll not mess it up because getting an interview is one. Then how
Hmm.
do you now approach the interview? It is a different ball game. So first, you are
Yeah.
focusing on your getting an interview means your CV has to be right or it has to be appealing. So it has to be because you hear people say, "Oh, but I don't have any experience. I just learned the skill and all that." There is a way around that a whole lot of people don't know. That it's something that I tell people. Okay, because they are going to be publishing this, it's not something that I should be saying online and all that. But there's a way around that. You have the knowledge, don't you? Can you defend it? So if you can defend it and you have the knowledge, because that's the experience.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned, I started doing stuff for people back home where I didn't need
Yes.
to pay.
Yes.
You didn't need for them to pay you. You have
Volunteer.
even your own personal business you are running. You
Yeah.
have your friends that have businesses. Just ask them for their sales data. Just ask them for anything at all, employee data, anything at all that you could just play around to just show something. So you can those can count as experience. Those can count as projects
Yes.
you've done as
Yes.
portfolios. It
Yes.
doesn't have
Yes.
to be paid. Nobody's even
Yes.
does
Yes.
anybody even care to ask if it's paid or not. So
Yeah.
that's how
Because
you build up experiences and all of that.
yeah, yeah. I do tell some people that you have got the skills now, but you don't have project to back it up, or you don't have the
Mm.
experience. But don't start looking for pay through if we really want to move fast in
Mm-hmm.
this tech space. The market is so competitive. Just
Yeah.
imagine that 200,000 or let's say 2,000 people attended a single boot camp. That means you guys have the same knowledge. But what will now make you stand out from others is what? Is it that you easily volunteer yourself for unpaid roles?
Mm.
You understand? So because I also utilize it, it really helped me a lot. I didn't even care about the money, but some people went based on social media, means that okay, well, there's money in tech to just go for 3 months or 6 months boot camp. After that, you are in money, which is a big lie.
Yeah.
It's a big lie. So they won't tell you what is required to actually get a job. And what is not required to get a job is not left to you because you are the one that will do the most of the job. For
Yeah.
example, now
100%.
LinkedIn optimization, how to network, either
Yeah.
on social media, physical networking, how to communicate, your mindset also, because I think this is the most, like the most power engine that powers everything, your mindset. If you believe you can do it, you will do it. Based on what you said,
Yeah.
okay, you already had it in mind, okay, you can't mess up your interview and you didn't mess
Mm-hmm.
up. You
Yeah.
understand?
Yeah.
So it's very important in that aspect. Thank you for sharing the like what think made you stand out in the interview, your preparation, your mindset, and stuff like that. Thank you very much. So in your current role, as a business data analyst, what does your day to day look like? How different is this from your expectation?
Yeah, so basically my day to day is normal, like because if you're working as a business data analyst or a data analyst in a firm, it's not really just about, it depends on what the organization does. For me, I'm doing data analysis not just internally, also for external, like our customers
Okay.
outside, then even the staff inside our operations, how we do things, how we send reports, how we do a whole lot of things. So for me, day to day basically will be different tasks, different projects. It could be one after the other. Sometimes it could just
Hmm.
come like together where you'd have to just, you know what I mean, just do them side by side. So for
Yes.
me, different days, I'm always looking forward to different challenges. I
Hmm.
always like projects that will challenge me to probably think outside the box or do research more. Trust me, it is harder when you get the job than when you are not, than when you are training. Because you'd have people you'd have your boss can just watch something in a movie. Like there's this shout of this AI can do this, AI can do that. And your boss will just come and just throw it at you like, oh, can we do this? Can we do that? Or I'd like us to do this, I'd like us to do that. And for me, I'm the yes guy. I would never tell you no. I would never tell you it's impossible. I don't mind if it costs me sleepless nights, doing extra unpaid hours for me to get it done. I don't mind. But so that's even what you are learning when you think you are learning is not as difficult as when you get into the job, because the job basically is more like what's it called? The job basically is mostly you're not prepared for it. If it's what you've trained for or what you've learned, you already know what it is that might come your way. But this one, day to day, you have different tasks. Whether you're doing employee data today, you're doing for the finance guys, for the operations guys, for the marketing guys, and everybody just comes at you to say, "Oh, we want to do this. We have this campaign. What do you think you can come up with?" We have
Hmm.
so yeah. So day to day for me is not, and that's why I like the job. I don't like routine activities where it's not challenging. You just come every day and sign, register, and do this and do that. So one of the perks of the job is you don't know what you're expecting. You don't know
This can
what will
happen.
come your way. Yeah. And that's actually where you learn. I've
Yes.
learned more working than when the boot camp that I did. I've learned
Sure.
more working than the
Sure.
boot camp. So
Sure.
that
Sure.
you
Sure.
only need the basics to get the job, but
Yeah.
afterwards you
You
will
build.
learn on the job, 100%.
Yes, yeah. Because
Yeah.
I told some people that they just maybe finish, let me say, boot camp or acquiring the data analysis skill. I was like, what you are learning now? They were even complaining that there is too much that they've acquired a lot. Like, no. The main time, the real time that you start learning is when you get the job.
Mm-hmm.
That's even when the real learning starts. Because you want to impress the company that hired you. You don't want to fuck up.
Yeah, of
You
course,
understand?
100%.
Because you told them in the interview that okay, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this. But when the real task now come and you were like,
Mm.
you can't do it, then what's the ideas of them hiring you?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
even if you don't know something, that's the time you need to learn the like much stuff that you can learn. That's what we call domain knowledge too.
mm.
Every company has their own domain knowledge. If you're in HR, you need to learn more about HR stuff like finance also there, tech also there. So that one is another thing entirely, apart from even you upgrading your stacks. Let's say okay, you know how to use Power
Yeah,
BI and the company is okay. The only thing that they use is Tableau. And you are the type that
yeah,
you lack continuous learning mindset. You lack on continuous learning mindset, so it will be difficult for you to do that. So
yeah.
to wrap it up, there is something that divide tech community, and I see people spending thousands on that, and we have discussed that, which is the certification and on experience. But I want you to give one piece of idea advice to someone who is planning the same transition that you did, maybe from Nigeria or from anywhere in the world. I want to come to a foreign land. What should they prepare for, and how should they prepare their mindset?
Yeah, so basically, it's just like all we've been talking about. It's know what you want and know what you want early and focus on it so that you can filter all the noise. Today, cybersecurity. Today is project management. Today is you're just following the crowd. You're here. You're there. Know what you want. If it's project management you want, heads on. Give it your all. Anybody shouting data analysis, cybersecurity, just be deaf to that because you've chosen your path. And this will mostly
Yes.
stem from the fact that you already know yourself and you know what you want. So know yourself, know your strengths, know your capabilities. You don't need to deceive yourself. You know what
Hmm.
what would work for you. If you say, oh, but how will I know that I can't do data or I can't do project management? That's easy. Go on to YouTube, look at just free courses that you can look at, so you know what it entails, and it's already, you know, if it syncs with what you can do or not. If it doesn't, or your strength does not lie there, then you don't need to think about it. One of the reasons why a lot of persons are coming to data analysis, because they'll tell you, oh, it's no code or low code. But you and I know that if you get it to the depth of it, there's no way you not code. There's
Yes.
no way you not code. Even whether even if it's Power BI. In your training Power BI, probably then might not really teach you much about DAX. But when you get to the
Exactly.
nitty gritty, you have to know DAX. If you want to be
Yeah.
efficient in working, you have to know a bit of Python, you have to know SQL. So people that have told you there's no code, little or no code, then you find yourself being lied to, or something like that. So my advice would be, know yourself, know what works for you, and just filter those noise that is coming here and there to say, oh, and just filter it away, focus on what you want. Secondly, it would be that if you are coming to a new country, have it at the back of your mind that, yes, different grace, as my people will call it, but there'll be times where you would struggle. You would even
Hmm.
start asking yourself, am I in the right path? You have that self-doubt and all of that. You have that self-doubt and all of that, but it doesn't really matter. You know what you want, and you are sure of it, so you just keep on going. You have to put in the effort. And the effort you are putting in when you're applying for a job, when you land an interview, you should be reminded of you should remind yourself of how much you put into this, because interviewing, see, having the skill is different. You've
Listen,
known how to
is
use this. It's different from the interview. It's two different. It's something you have to learn again separately. Don't be shy. Go online. Ask people that have interviewed. How do you prepare for this? What are the things you need to say? People don't understand that you just do this data analytics, so all you need to learn is the SQL, Python, and all that. Communication skill is very important as a data
yes.
analyst, but people don't actually know this. You do
Hmm.
presentations to your bosses, you find patterns and trends, and you want to talk to them about why you guys should make this decision. Those are the things they'll look at in the interview. It's not just about giving you data and saying, go and analyze the
Yeah,
data. How do you
yeah,
communicate your findings to your
that's true.
bosses? How do you make it make sense to them? So those are skills themselves on their own that you have to also work on. So those are things people need to know. It's not just having the know-how or having a good TV. It's just step by step. Each phases, but you have to actually put in the work. You know where you are very good. You know where your strength is. You know where your weakness
Yes,
is.
yes,
Those
yes,
things you
yes.
need to work on, because if you land an interview, like I said, it's a completely different ball game, and you need to actually show that you know your onions. I've heard people say, go to interviews and they tell them you are a complete different person from who is on your CV and from who we have in front of us. I've heard two
Wow.
people tell me that, yes, they could not defend what's on their CV, or what's on their CV was too rich and too good, and we're giving you the opportunity to interview, and you are shaking, or you could not really say,
Wow.
tell, oh, on your CV you said you're able to do this and do that. How did you do it? And you start shaking. So those are interview is another thing, is another skill on itself. If you've sought after knowledge in learning the skill, you have to sort after knowledge in also saying, okay, that's one phase. Now I've been interviewed. I've landed an interview. How do I now how
Pass the
break that?
interview.
So that's another thing
Wow.
you need to also
Wow.
understand. And
Wow.
lastly, if you believe in prayer, pray. If you believe in anything, do. But
It's
I know
important.
hard work is actually important. You need to actually put in the work. You need to put in the work. And I used to tell people that applying for a job itself is a job on its own. So when I'm telling you that, yeah, it can be very stressful and it's demanding. In as much as that's what you want, you need to continuously put in that work, apply for it. Even if it's 5, you can do every day. If it's 4, just try as much as possible. Also avoid those easy apply. I'll tell you the truth. Easy apply is easy, and you just want to apply to it. Sometimes you're not able to actually give like a good account of yourself. Those other ones might take 10-15 minutes extra to do, but those are the ones also that would help. And also, what would be the last thing? Yeah, look at the job description. Sometimes the title does not really matter. You might think that some people just say a title and you just go information strategist analyst, and you be like, what's this? Go and look at the job description. It's just name. Sometimes there are things you would be able to do. Do you get me?
Yes,
So
yes, yes.
try and look at the job descriptions most times, and if it aligns with what you can do, then go for it. Yeah, so
Wow,
that's it.
wow, wow. Thank you for the actionable insight that you have shared with us now. And hello, my guys. What an incredible conversation with BJ, from physics graduate in Nigeria to data analyst in Newcastle. This is what real journeys look like. So let's recap some takeaways. And I'm very sure there will be a lot of people that will have strong opinions about the certification versus experience debate. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And also, if you are a team certification or team project building, let's keep this conversation going. And BJ, before we wrap up, where can people connect with you and follow your journey?
Yeah, basically my work, funny, the thing is just that my work journey or my work life is totally different from my social life and all that. But on LinkedIn, Omobolaji Etti, yeah, so I think that's the only thing you see in terms of professionalism. But because I do other things apart from data, yeah. So my social media presence is completely different from work. It's football related.
Oh.
Yeah.
And as you have heard from DJ himself, and as always, you can watch more episode of Tech Journey with the Data Dude on YouTube at the Data Dude, on TikTok official the Data Dude, Instagram the Data Dude, Spotify Tech Journey with the Data Dude, LinkedIn just search for the Data Dude, and also please don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell to watch and to catch on every episode. Next week, we are bringing you another inspiring story that proves that your tech dreams are valid. And please remember, your current situation is not your final destination. Keep pushing, keep learning, keep growing, and keep enjoying. This is Data Dude, the host for today. And until next time, peace out.